You face a difficult decision. Your mind races through options, weighing pros and cons, calculating outcomes, imagining consequences. You ask friends for advice, you search for answers online, you lie awake at night running scenarios, and after all that effort, you still do not know what to do. So you do nothing, or you do something and immediately regret it. Either way, the decision haunts you. The uncertainty follows you into the next situation and the one after that. This is your life now. An endless series of decisions made without any clear framework for making them. You improvise your way through moral dilemmas. You invent your ethics on the spot. When someone asks what you believe in, what you stand for, what principles guide your life, you reach for vague generalities that could mean anything. Be a good person. Follow your heart. Do what feels right. These are not principles. They are placeholders for principles you never developed. You feel this absence as a kind of drifting. Not physical movement, but something deeper. The sense that you are floating through life without an anchor. That you could become almost anyone depending on the circumstances. In small moments, this flexibility might seem like freedom. But in the moments that matter, it reveals itself as weakness. When pressure comes, you do not know who you are. When temptation arrives, you have no line you will not cross. When sacrifice is required, you have no cause worth sacrificing for. Here is what you need to understand. This confusion is not your fault. You were raised in a culture that dismantled the old codes without building new ones. Your parents' generation was taught to question all authority, including moral authority. Their rebellion was necessary. But what they left behind was a vacuum. A world where individuals were expected to construct their own meaning from scratch without any guidance on how to do it. You were handed freedom without being given the foundation that makes freedom meaningful. The samurai of feudal Japan faced a different reality. They lived in a world of clear codes and absolute standards. The most famous of these was Bushido, which translates as the way of the warrior. But Bushido was never just about fighting. It was a complete philosophy for living, a framework that answered every significant question a person could face. What should I value? How should I treat others? What is worth dying for? What is worth living for? Bushido provided answers that the samurai could carry into any situation. The code emerged gradually across centuries, drawing from Zen Buddhism, Confucianism, and the practical realities of warrior life. It was not written down in a single text, but transmitted through teaching, example, and the accumulated wisdom of generations. By the time it was codified in works like the Hagakure and the writings of Nitobe Inatso, Bushido had crystallized into 7 core virtues. Each virtue addressed a specific aspect of character. Together, they formed a complete human being. There was a samurai named Saigo Takamori who lived in the 19th century and is often called the last true samurai. During Japan's rapid modernization, when the old warrior class was being abolished and samurai traditions were being discarded as backwards, Saigo remained committed to Bushido. When the government he had helped establish moved in directions he found dishonorable, he walked away from power, from wealth, from everything he had built. He eventually died leading a doomed rebellion, not because he thought he could win, but because surrender would have violated principles he held dearer than life. What made Saigo extraordinary was not his martial skill or his political influence. It was his clarity. When faced with impossible choices, he knew exactly what he stood for and what he was willing to sacrifice. The code did not make his life easier. It made his life coherent. He could act decisively even in chaos because his principles had already decided for him. Modern psychology confirms what the samurai understood. Research on moral foundations shows that people with clearly articulated values experience less anxiety, make faster decisions, and report higher life satisfaction. The energy that others spend deliberating, you can redirect toward action. The clarity that others search for in the moment, you already possess before the moment arrives. A code is not a constraint. It is an operating system that makes everything else run smoothly. Here is the truth that changes everything about how you approach your life. You think you're free because you have no code. But the opposite is true. Without principles, you are a slave to circumstances. Every situation controls you because you have nothing internal to push back against it. Every temptation commands you because you have built no resistance. Every pressure bends you because you have no core. Yes, the samurai who bound himself to Bushido was freer than you are. His code gave him something to stand on. From that ground, he could move deliberately. Without it, you only react. Here are the 7 virtues of Bushido and how to apply them to your life. The first virtue is gi, which means righteousness or justice. This is the commitment to doing what is right regardless of consequences. The samurai did not calculate whether honesty would benefit him. He was honest because honesty was right. Gi provides a standard that exists independent of personal advantage. The mental shift is moving from asking what benefits me to asking what is right. The action step is to identify a situation in your life where you have been choosing convenience over principle. Make the principled choice. Let the cost come. This is how gi is practiced. The second virtue is yu, which means courage. Not the absence of fear, but the willingness to act despite fear. The samurai felt fear like any person. The difference was that fear did not determine his actions. Yu means doing what must be done even when everything inside you wants to run. The mental shift is recognizing that courage is not a feeling, but a choice. The action step is to identify what you have been avoiding because it frightens you. Do it anyway. Speak the truth you have been withholding. Have the conversation you have been postponing. Take the risk you have been circling. You is built through action, not intention. The third virtue is jin, which means benevolence or compassion. This might seem surprising for warriors, but the samurai understood that true strength includes the capacity for gentleness. Jin means using power to protect, not to harm. It means treating those below you with the same dignity you show those above. The mental shift is recognizing that kindness is not weakness, but a higher form of strength. The action step is to look for opportunities to help those who cannot help you back. Extend compassion where it earns you nothing. This is how jin is practiced. The fourth virtue is rei, which means respect or proper behavior. The samurai were famous for their elaborate etiquette, but rei is not about formality for its own sake. It is about recognizing the dignity inherent in every person and situation. Rei means treating the world as if it matters. The mental shift is approaching every interaction as significant. The action step is to bring full attention and respect to encounters you would normally rush through. The cashier at the store, the person holding the door, the stranger asking for directions. Practice rei by treating ordinary moments as worthy of care. The fifth virtue is makoto, which means honesty or sincerity. The samurai's word was absolute. When he said something, it was true. When he made a promise, it was kept. Makoto means the complete alignment between what you say and what you do, between what you present to the world and what exists inside you. The mental shift is understanding that every lie, even a small one, fragments your integrity. The action step is to audit your speech for dishonesty. Where do you exaggerate? Where do you omit? Where does your public self diverge from your private self? Close these gaps. Makoto requires it. The sixth virtue is meiyo, which means honor. This is perhaps the most misunderstood concept. Honor is not reputation. Reputation is what others think of you. Honor is what you think of yourself when you are alone and honest. Meiyo means living in a way that you can respect, regardless of whether anyone else knows. The mental shift is moving from external validation to internal standards. The action step is to ask yourself whether you would be proud of your recent actions if they were made public. If not, you have work to do. Meiyo is practiced in private and revealed in crisis. The seventh virtue is chugi, which means loyalty. The samurai served something larger than himself. His loyalty to his lord, to his clan, to his family gave his life meaning beyond personal satisfaction. Chugi means committing fully to what you have chosen to serve. The mental shift is recognizing that a life devoted only to yourself is a small life. The action step is to identify what you serve, your family, your craft, your cause. Then ask whether your daily actions reflect that commitment. Chugi is proven through sustained devotion, not occasional gestures. These 7 virtues form a complete system. Gi ensures you do what is right. Yu ensures you do it even when afraid. Jin ensures your strength serves others. Rei ensures you treat all things with dignity. Makoto ensures your words match your reality. Meiyo ensures you can live with yourself. Chugi ensures you serve something worth serving. The samurai did not wake up each morning and invent his ethics from scratch. He had already done the work. The code was internalized. When situations arose, he did not deliberate endlessly because the principals had already decided. This is the power of having a code. You trade the exhausting freedom of constant choice for the liberating structure of clear standards. You do not need to adopt Bushido exactly as the samurai practiced it. You need to understand what they understood. That a life without principles is not free, but chaotic. That character is built through commitment, not intention. That knowing what you stand for is the foundation of knowing who you are. The modern world tells you to keep your options open, to remain flexible, to never commit too fully to any position you might later want to revise. This advice produces exactly the confusion and drift you are experiencing. The samurai would have rejected it completely. Commitment is not a limitation. It is the source of power. Saigo Takamori died on a hillside, leading men he knew would be defeated against an army he knew would win. From the outside, this looks like failure. But Saigo was not measuring success by survival. He was measuring it by coherence, by the alignment between his principles and his actions. By that measure, he succeeded completely. He died the same person he had lived as. His code held from first breath to last. You may never face the choices Saigo faced, but you will face your own moments of testing. The question is what you will have to draw upon when they arrive. A person without a code meets these moments empty-handed. A person with a code meets them armed. The 7 virtues are waiting. Not as historical curiosities, but as practical tools for building a life that holds together. Righteousness, courage, benevolence, respect, honesty, honor, loyalty. These are not abstractions. They are answers to the questions you face every day. What should I do? Who should I be? What is worth sacrificing? The samurai knew. Now you can know too. If you are ready to live by a code, write in the comments, I will live with honor. Thank you for watching.